And we're back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Still Knick Fans podcast. This is episode 3. We're back at it talking about them Knicks. I'm your man, Ron, and this is my brother, John.
What
What's
it
going
is, what
on?
it is.
What's happening, brother?
Happy 2021.
Yeah, man, we're here. We're still around to see these Knicks, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Not too bad though. Not too shabby.
Oh,
I
no.
must say. We take a week. We kind of do this every week, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we plan to come to our viewers every Friday and kind of give us the recaps and the download on what we think about our Knicks. And man, a 4-game swing right there, right? So
Yeah, a lot of things happened
pretty
this week.
good.
It's a busy week. I like it. I like it. So let's get right into it, man. Um,
All right.
Last time we were, here with you guys, we were talking about the Indiana Pacers, and we know what they did against the Pacers. It was they showed the valiant effort. It was a good effort, but they came up a little short. They couldn't handle the bigs like Sabonis and Miles Turner and stuff like that. So, in my mind, I'm already thinking this next game against the Philadelphia 76ers is going to be, par for the course. Same thing. We're going to go up against these bigs and it's going to be a good effort, but we're going to come up short. And unfortunately, that may have been the case. Embiid was having his way with us, doing his thing. The one thing I did like when I watched the game is that Embiid wasn't, he wasn't real like an instigator, because sometimes when he's playing, he uses that fuel of talking trash to get him hype and to get his game. But he didn't really do too much of that with the Knicks. Maybe because they're a young team still learning, trying to find their way, which is good because that's the type of thing that you don't want to get beat by them and then have them talking trash to you and making you feel worse about it.
He had a moment though. He had a moment. He had a
Did he?
moment. Yeah, there was a moment in that game where he looked over. I think at Leon Rose, they had said
Oh
on. I
yeah,
think the
yeah,
commentator said he was
yeah,
looking
yeah,
over at Leon Rose and said a little words. I think he hit a 3, and then he looked over. So I was quite surprised. I knew MB was going to go heavy, right? I mean, we talked about it the first episode or the second episode. We talked about it, and I knew he was gonna drop points. I didn't expect most of those points to be from the perimeter. I
right.
expected that to be in the block, but he did a lot more than I thought he would do on the perimeter. So I'll give the Knicks credit. They kept them out the paint, kept them off the paint. They rebounded really well, and I mean, I wouldn't say they rebounded really well in that game. I think they did a sufficient job. I just think they had too many. They were just too big inside. Like they were.
Yeah.
You could really tell though when my boy Nerlens Noel got on the floor. You could really tell, that we were lacking some depth in that position. So
I think Nerlens, as much as I like the idea of having a Nerlens Noel on the team, I can see his limitations now. Like I understand why he is, a journeyman, and maybe um, this is going to be a tough year for him too. Knicks did give up some of their mass, their body. They, uh, getting rid of what Bobby Portis,
yeah,
getting
Taj.
Taj. There was another big that they had. Not Marcus Morris, but there was. I felt
Yeah,
like there was
Harkless, more
Harkless.
Harkless. But
Yeah,
I think he was gone right anyway after this season. I
yeah,
think
yeah. But I just think they lost some of that size, that toughness that they, and even Marcus Morris not being a big guy, still his toughness is apparent. He doesn't back down
right.
to anybody. So yeah, they don't have toughness right now. Right now,
They got speed though, and I noticed that if they can utilize the speed in the pick and roll, but the problem that I have with our bigs is that there's no pick and pops for them, right? Like, and I'm not talking about like out in the 3-point area. I'm just talking about like within that 15-foot perimeter. Like there aren't guys who are going to face the basket and shoot that jump shot and make people honest. I noticed that a lot with Nerlens Noel. He'll turn to the basket and he's really just looking for a pass. He's not looking for a shoot. And, it's one of those things. It's just like, I just found that interesting, so.
The thing about it is I think is kind of interesting is the fact that some of these guys, like a Nerlens Noel, when you see them play or especially play against your team, they look a little better than when they're on your team. Like some of the things you look at them like, oh man, when I think of Nerlens Noel, I thought, okay, he's a guy who blocks shots. He's pretty quick, pretty agile. But for whatever reason, I thought he had a jump shot. And I haven't seen that jump shot with the Knicks. So, I mean, I guess I was wrong. I don't know. Just one of those things.
I didn't really follow Noel, his game much, not even in college, to be honest. He wasn't in my radar. But with all the hype coming into the Knicks, I was like, whoa, like we may have a little something here. But to me, he's more like a slashing power forward, right? Like, and in my opinion, he would probably be more serviceable as a power forward, kind of like a slasher, someone who you can do, like you could throw some alleys to. But at 6'11", he's really light. So, but again, I mean, well, we're talking Knicks. This ain't the new Nerlens Noel show. So let's get past him a bit. I think he's serviceable. I think he's going to be okay. I just noticed that he just doesn't have any weight to him. So, when we're facing teams that are loaded in the center position, we're going to run into some trouble. But our man Mitch stepped up, man.
Yeah, Mitch, he did play well against them. Surprisingly, I thought he might really get bombarded with fouls and run into a lot of problems. But he played pretty good against them. I think he let me see here. Yeah, he had 11 points and 9 rebounds. So he definitely held his own. He was out there doing what he needed to do, and surprisingly stayed on the floor. He only had 3 personal fouls. I think that
I think this entire week he's been solid.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. He's been pretty good. I can't.
I mean, hasn't got it. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I can't.
I didn't catch that.
I can't say you're wrong. He's been impressive.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That game was kind of interesting. I think the takeaway from it would have probably been Randall and Burks. They were the best Knicks that Randall had 25 points, Burks had 22, and they kept us in the game. But if not for them, it would have been bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was unfortunate that Burke got injured, right? In that game, I think that was the game he got injured. He rolled his ankle.
Correct.
And so he was out the next couple of games after that. I think the next 3 games he was out. So,
well, you know what? I feel like he played a little bit in the Cavalier game. I could be wrong.
Did he? No, I don't recall.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Yeah, I don't think he did. I think he had that he had the Pacer game that he played really well, and then the Sixers game he played really well. That was back-to-backs, and then he's been out kind of healing. But and then I just think that you started realizing that they were onto something in the 76ers game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when I was watching it at first, I was kind of like taken back a lot about like how many turnovers there was and how many missed shots there were in that game for us. But all in all, I was, you start looking at like their scheme and kind of like the way they were moving their offense.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like they had an idea in the game. You could actually see it progressing in the game. Like, oh, they have an idea.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is like, I mean, it's the second game of the season for them. Very limited preseason, limited practices. So they're still thinking on the court, right? They're still trying to figure out, hey, where should I be? What should I do? And obviously, you got your coach like Thibodeau who's barking orders at them and trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing. He's real hands on with that stuff. So yeah, in due time, more and more they play, the better they'll get, the more fluid these things will look like, and then you'll see better basketball.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Repetition is key.
so I think that's pretty much what took place in that 76ers game. And then, man, after the 76ers game, I'm like, okay, now we are going to get smacked. Milwaukee is going to take us to town. Antetokounmpo is going to run all over. He's going to be dunking on everybody's face. People are going to be falling. Children will be crying at home. Look at what he's doing to us. But surprisingly enough, the Knicks came out and they put a whipping on these boys, man. They came out and put a spanking on them. These are Knicks.
Listen, that was a pleasant surprise, man. It was a pleasant surprise, and I was like so anxious to be like getting on our podcast and being like, "Yo, let's talk these Knicks." But you know what I mean? Because we waited the week, you know what I mean? We were just trying to see how they do week to week. But yeah, that was an impressive win, man. All the way around, and I love that the end note or the kind of like the bookmark to that day was Tibbs coming on the press and saying what's he state? The magic is in the work. I think that was the statement.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing because it's like that's true and true is what it is, and that's he hasn't really fallen into like the media hype or kind of because that's what the season is going to be like, right? The season for us is going to be like we'll get some really we'll get some wins, and then people are going to be like overly impressed, and then we're going to have some bad losses, and then everybody's going to be like, oh, same old Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's a work in progress,
Yeah. It's just,
or it's a
it's
work in
time.
progress.
Yeah. No, a work in
Right.
progress and it's a work in progress. It's both when you think about it. Yeah. I mean, listen,
Right.
I think I can't say enough about the effort they put together. I would say that as of that point, that had been the best basketball I've seen them play, without question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that
Well, that preseason game,
oh, that's right. They
that
did. They had a
preseason game,
blowout against the
that was
Cavaliers, right? Yeah, they spanked the Cavaliers. That's true. But this one that one was kind of bittersweet, only because if you look at the team the Cavaliers had on the field, on the court, should I say, it was a bunch of young guys, rookies that are probably, they won't play much in the regular season. But the Bucks had their starters out there, and they were getting it.
right,
So yeah, it was very nice. Very
and
nice.
everyone was healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone was
If
healthy.
anything, the Knicks was missing people. Yeah, so that was
Yep.
great. That was great. We had no Obi Toppin, we had no Emmanuel
Quickly.
Quickly, and no Alex Burks,
Yep. No Austin Rivers.
no Austin Rivers. Yeah, so that was yeah, that's very nice, very impressive. And another thing that was impressive about that too is Mr. Julius Randle. I'm gonna stop killing this guy. All right, look. I don't like to eat my words. I don't like the fact that this guy all of a sudden is bowling out of control. I will say, I'm going to say it again. Maybe I got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe last year was less about him and more about the coaching or lack thereof. Because
Mm.
the way he was playing maybe was a byproduct of what the coach was or was not doing. Allowing him to be freelancing out there, play your game, do whatever you like. You make the right calls, make the reads, but with no structure, it looked bad. It looked really bad. This year, you
Mm-hmm.
got different coaches that are implementing systems and all this stuff, and Thibodeau has a style that he's playing, and the guy he's making most of all the stuff he's doing is I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but he's making tremendous plays. He's making the right reads. His shots are going down. He's making more shots, and he's still rebounding. What more can you ask? The guy is like almost a triple double
Right.
every night.
Even in the losses. Like
Yeah.
even in our losses, even if he's not hitting like large numbers in scoring or or an assist, he's getting the ball out to the right people, and it's just a matter of time before they start making those shots, which will then up his stats a bit. And I don't think we've been on this because we started this year. We started right before the first game with our podcast. We haven't really been like a, on any kind of like attack on Randall's game. The reality is that we probably talked on our own before we started this podcast about, well, will Randall fit with the Knicks? For the long haul, like, is he just trade bait? And I see a lot of folks talking about maybe rethinking that position, with Randall, but I don't know. I mean, I think the jury is still out. I think Randall is a serviceable big. I really think he could play some consider Carmelo Anthony's game was the small forward, power forward position. I think he could do both. I think he's versatile. I just think he's stronger in the block than he is from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of where he's at with his game right now. But he hasn't shot a bad clip from the 3-point line this year. What do you mean? I mean, if you look at the stats of the last game, he maybe shot 2 3-pointers and probably missed them both because everybody missed last game
Right.
from the 3-point line against Toronto. But prior to that, he was hitting at a decent clip.
Yeah. Oh no. In that Bucks game, he was 3 for 5. 10 of 11 from the free throw line. Like this guy he's been hitting
I'll
his
take
shot.
it.
I'll tell you one thing about him. He definitely has impressed me, and I think I'm not going out on a limb when I say he's not a superstar. I'm not saying he can never be a superstar. I just don't think that's his path. But I do think he can be a star in this league, and I think this year he's going to become an all-star. I think
I agree.
he's gonna get in there. I think the way he's playing, I think he can keep this up. He's a young guy still too.
Right. I just think that also it all depends on the Knicks and whether they're winning or losing, right? Like, because I mean, we've had like even when Melo was here and we went through a losing streak, he'd put up numbers, but he wouldn't get the All-Star nod. Or did he get an All-Star
No,
nod
he
with the
always
Knicks
got it.
every year?
Yeah, he got it. He got it.
He always got it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I
That's
mean,
like
it's one
the
of those things.
grandfather clause.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But like with a kid like Randall, who's 26 years old, or a young man like Randall, he's not a kid. A young man like Randall, it's going to be tough for him to keep this level of play up consistently. And if he could do that, then I think he'll get the nod, right? He'll get the call, and I think the Knicks fans will vote for him. But outside of that, I'm not sure how many, outside of his hometown,
Right, right,
will
right.
vote for him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I just think he's impressed us in the what we played 5 games. Has it been 5 games, 6 games?
it's been 5 games in total.
5 games in total, and I mean, you can't ask for any better start for a player. If I was a player, that's the kind of start I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. And not to shortchange the other person in this game who really did some work. Randall had a great
Right.
game, but so did Elfrid Payton. I mean, Elfrid Payton came to play.
Right.
And with all of the, naysayers and media that's been going in on him for not doing anything, and they were shipping him out of here, man. He, he
Hey, we talked about it. We talked.
was on
Did
my
we
list.
not?
He's yeah,
We was on the list.
yeah,
He
he
was
was lying.
on the list. And look, I'll say it. And I'm not gonna sit here and like say like anybody seeing what we were talking about, but I think Alfred understands that this is an opportunity for him to show what he's capable of doing
Hmm.
and kind of responding back when you get I think he put no points on the board against the Sixers. to come back, right? And they said he took shots at the end of that game and everything. He's still late. So I mean, those are things that you want to see.
Right.
But I just think that he has that game that and we talked about it. He can get to the hoop. He just has to let it go.
That's all he got to do.
Right? He has to
All
be
he got to
confident
do.
enough to let it go. And he has been. From that point on, I think he's showing some maturity when it comes to running this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's shown that he's capable. Now there are some defensive lapses, like with the rest of the team. I think everyone on the team still runs into those situations, but I think he's a serviceable point guard. Should he be our starter for the long haul? I think we have to look elsewhere. But I think while he's on the court, while he's on this team, I think we can win some games with him.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I think he definitely is an NBA player for a reason. And really, no NBA player is a bum. It's very hard to make the NBA. I think you got a draft class. It's 2 rounds, maybe about 50 players, and all these players got to go through all these different hurdles just to get there. So none of these guys are bums. They just don't play up to the expectations of the fan bases sometimes. So
Right.
that being said, that was an incredible win. I was very happy to watch the game. I was hype after the game. I was like, you know what? If they're gonna play like this, we're gonna have a lot of happy nights. But then we had the next game coming up
Yeah.
with Cleveland, and I had marked Cleveland down with the schedule as a win. So I don't know. I wasn't sure. What were you gonna say?
I think you hit it on the mark though for the Cleveland game. You know what I mean? You knew you had a feeling that we were going to win 2. I think you called 2 wins, right?
Say two.
I called 1 win, so we got the 2 wins. So I didn't expect it to be those 2.
Right.
I expected 1 win, and I expected it against the Raptors,
Right.
and I was wrong. But that was a good call by you. We got the Cleveland win. Cleveland was great, and I want to go back a little bit to the Bucks game.
Mm-hmm.
I was really impressed when you talk about the matchups, how Randall and Giannis are the matchups, and you look at the stats side by side. He wins that matchup. Then you look at Alfred Payton against a premier point guard. You know what I mean? So and Holiday and Drew Holiday, and you could see he wins the matchup. So like that was an interesting takeaway for me, the Bucks game. So going
That's a
back to
good
the
point.
Cleveland
But that's
game,
a good point. That the matchups they were not in the Knicks' favor at all, and the fact that they definitely outplayed the competition. That was a good point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So going into the Cleveland game, you was in the back of my mind when you had called the game and saying, I think we'll get that win. So I was like, okay, can this be a Ron? Can you call this one? Let me place my bet. But yeah, no, it was a good game. It was sloppy though. It was a sloppy game.
It was
You
sloppy.
know what I mean? And it kind of it showed like our kind of like what the struggles are going to be throughout the year. You have a lot of turnovers. You're going to have poor play from time to time. You're going to have some very bad shooting, it looks like, too. I think we've gotten into 5 games now. We kind of see like what that shooting is going to be like. We'll maybe hot a few days, but then we're going to run into a lot of days where guys are just off. And I'm wondering if we really need to start looking at the depth within the Knicks. But I don't want to go too far ahead of us. 76ers game. It's a fun game. We won. Sloppy. The takeaway for me is
Oh, you
Randall's
mean the Cavalier
consistent
game?
play.
The Cavalier game, you mean?
Oh, sorry, the Cavalier game. Yeah, the Cavalier game. What did I say? Did I
76.
say the Raptors
But
game?
no, the 76. But that's what
76ers, yeah.
happened because we got 4 games to talk about. Because a lot happened this week.
Okay, right. So the Cavs game, yeah, Cavs game was very sloppy. The takeaway was Randall's consistent play. And yeah, I mean, again, Alfred Payton did a pretty good job during that game, if I could recall. And I think who was Reggie Bullock was
Yeah,
decent on that game,
he has 17 points and 7
So
rebounds.
right. So and he had the great swing, right? Because the Bucks game he went off, and then it rolled over to the following game.
Right.
But those were just 2 back-to-back games, which was also interesting, right? We had a back-to-back, right? So that was that the back?
Yeah. That was the back-to-back.
That was the back-to-backs.
No. Wow.
Was it the Sixers?
Oh, it was the 76ers and then the Bucks. Now that's even more impressive. After putting your all against the 76ers to come out and blow out the Bucks, that's, man, you're making me feel even better about this game, man.
Yeah, that game was awesome, man. That game was great. I mean, and you could see Giannis like already in his mind penciling in the next time they reach us. He was in that bench like,
Yeah, and
bring some madness.
He's going to come out because usually when not for nothing, the other reason why I thought that the Knicks were going to lose is Giannis, for whatever reason, when he comes to the Garden or plays the Knicks, he be embarrassing them. Like, he dunking all over the place. And I know because of, you know what? Because that's because of his back and forth that he had with Porzingis. No, with Porzingis.
Oh, right.
Because him and Porzingis would go out. Porzingis blocked one of his dunks. Porzingis dunked on him once. And so ever since then, like, there was a big thing. Like, he would come out here and try to embarrass him. Yeah. But Porzingis is no longer here. So take it easy, Giannis. Take it easy.
Yeah, his brother still got something against us, though, right? He started attacking Brad.
Yeah.
Iggy was like, "Wait a minute, I just got in the game, and you trying to push me around." It ain't happening.
Crazy, man.
That was fun to see.
And back in the Cavalier game, Randall, triple-double, legit, 28.
That was the biggest takeaway. 11. It was the consistency in the play, and and you could see that he was in what, like some folks like to say, in his bag. You know what I mean? I mean, he literally took out. He really showed what he's capable of doing. Even in a sloppy game like that, like he pretty much took over the fourth quarter. It was him and Bullock hitting big shots, and just him catching the right people. You know what I mean? Or connecting with the right people and for them to hit open shots. It's interesting. I just want to be able to see a Knick game that isn't so sloppy and that we have multiple, I want to see more games like the Bucks game, where if you ain't got it, if you ain't got it from the 3-point line, get the mid-range going. You know what I mean? Not everything has to be from the 3 or or a layup. You have to play that mid-range game. And that's what makes a lot of players in the 90s so unique. And players like Kobe Bryant so unique. They were able to move past the 3-point game and say, I'm gonna attack this mid-range game because I'm not on. You know what I mean? And I think once Barrett figures that out, sky's the limit. And that was one of my biggest takeaway too. It's just Barrett's inconsistency lately he had that one good game against the Pacers and hasn't shown up since. It's unfortunate because I was wearing his shirt. I may have jinxed him.
There it is. That's it. That's what happened. So just don't wear the shirt anymore, and Barrett's gonna go off, man.
Listen, I'm not gonna wear it anymore, and if he starts going off, I'm gonna burn it. I'm gonna burn it and make sure it never comes back.
Yo, listen, man. Whatever works, bro. I'll try everything. I'm superstitious. It is what it is, man.
Facts.
I would say that just like you had that strong takeaway from the Bucks game being the matchups, I'm gonna say my strong takeaway from this sloppy game is that the Knicks won in a sloppy game,
right?
Because they easily could have lost. Right. This is the type of game the Knicks lose. So I'm glad that they pulled it out. Yeah, And it got a little dicey towards the end, but they were still able to maintain the lead. So it was a good win, even in a sloppy effort.
And I would say that we really like Mitchell Robinson showed himself that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like he showed that he can balance out the floor. Drummond didn't do much, like didn't have the impact that I thought he would have.
Right,
You
right,
know what I mean? And without Kevin Love, I mean that would have been a stretch four right there, right? Kevin Love makes this a stretch a little bit different game, but without Kevin Love on the floor, you know like the onus is on Drummond to grab those offensive rebounds and putbacks. And Mitch kept them off those boards, man. I mean, I don't know what Drummond's stats was, but when it counted, Mitch came up big.
yeah, yeah. Drummond's always going to do numbers. He's a numbers guy. He's going to get his numbers. He had
Mm-hmm.
18 points and 17 rebounds, but it didn't look like it because he didn't
Didn't
really impact the game. He basically got everything that he got because no one else got it. There was no one else doing anything, and he cleaned up.
right.
But it really wasn't impactful. If you could have
Mm,
18 points and 17 rebounds and not being impactful, that was it. So
right.
I'll take it every night. Every night I'll take it against all of them, all the teams.
Listen, listen. There's always going to be a player that's going to put up decent numbers.
Right.
I think the key fact was that they kept the guards somewhat in check. They didn't shoot a good percentage from the field, and they're poor defensive players. Right? I mean, we talked about it in preseason. You know, that's where they're going to suffer. They're two so-called point guards. You know what I mean? Aren't strong defenders. You
Right.
know, and they play them both on the floor at the same time.
Yeah.
So you know that's going to be their catch-22. That's going to be their Achilles heel for the entire season. But it was surprising to see them 3-0 coming
Listen,
into that matchup.
you know, I didn't realize the Cavaliers roster when what it was based on. So after watching that game, I took a little look at it later. They got some good players on that team. And surprisingly enough, some of the young guys are starting to come into their own. Sexton is becoming a star. I mean, the guy gets like 20 points a night. He's definitely starting to do some nice things. And they got these guys like Garland and these other players that are young that just haven't really hit yet, but they're starting to play a lot better. And I guess because of that, they together
Mhm.
with Drummond, cleaning up the glass. So they're misses, right? He's grabbing them, giving them second chance
Mhm.
opportunities.
Mhm.
This is all big. That's why the
Right.
fact that they brought him in, they had a plan. They knew what they were doing. They know what type of team they got, and if that guy helps them, the
Right.
young players get up more shots, why not?
Yeah. And plus, you have Love, right? And if you get a healthy Love, which that's the problem with Love, he's been, he hasn't been healthy. He
Right.
hasn't been able to stay on the floor. But when he is on the floor, he's an impact player. He's
Mhm.
definitely an all-star, caliber player. And because he's a stretch four and he grabs boards both defensively and offensively, that just makes the team. He's a really willing passer, right? So that makes their team really rounded. And because those kids, Sexton and Garland, don't shoot a high percentage from the field, you know what I mean? They're gonna need more shots in order to put more numbers up. So
Yeah, yeah. I think they got a interesting group of players over there, so they should be fun to watch going forward. I'm gonna enjoy those Nick battles.
yeah, but
Our young team against their young team should be fun.
yeah, I think we're gonna. I think we could take a lot of those series though. I think we're at the end of the year we'll have more of those wins and those takeaways. Especially the way we've been playing the offensive schemes, the defensive schemes. We're even in the losses, we've been able to like battle and make people take tough shots. And that's what I've liked the most. I've loved to see the intensity in the defense. I love to see Knox diving for balls on the, you know what I mean? Like going after it. I love to see Mitch going after it. Like these are guys who you think don't care as much. But when you see it, you're like, oh, that's
Right.
That's a sight to see, man.
That's great. It's great.
It's exciting.
Well, I think that one last thing I was going to say about that, I kind of feel like, I mean, maybe because I'm so used to seeing him on the team, I kind of feel like the Cavaliers miss Tristan Thompson. I think, him being a constant person that's been down low, and he puts up decent numbers for the time he plays. He's not a scoring type of guy, but as far as rebounding and playing good defense and getting block shots, I think they're gonna miss that because I think he's more of an intimidating type presence than Drummond is. Drummond is I'll get the boards. Yeah, I can block your shot, but I don't think Drummond scares anybody when they go into the hole. I just think
Yeah.
that's my take on it. But whatever. Enough about those Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you may be right there. I mean, I just know that they got younger, so they got more athletic.
They did
So,
get younger, yes.
you know, it
And
is what it is. But this, like I said, I think we're gonna win the matchups.
no, I agree that the Knicks definitely have all the tools, and if things keep going the way they have been in time, they're gonna show that they can definitely be the better team. But we'll see. Take it one game at a time. We'll get there.
One game at
And
a time.
speaking of one game at a time, we are at the most recent game between the Knicks and the Toronto Raptors. This is the one that I was on the fence about. I didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of my friends that like basketball, they don't think Toronto is that good anymore. And I think that has to do a lot with Kawhi Leonard not being there. I don't know what it is,
I
man.
would just say they're bigs, man. Like they don't have the same bigs.
Yeah.
And I was one of those. I was on that same, like I'm on that same wavelength still, to be honest. Like first off, they don't have home field advantage anymore. They're
Mhm.
not playing in Toronto,
Right.
right? They're not playing in front of fans, which is a key factor when you go out to Canada to play a game. So the whole home court advantage is gone.
Hmm.
Um, and basically they're gonna live and die with their two guards, which are amazing guards, Van Fleet and I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. What's
Um.
oh
Uh,
man, um,
yeah, you're talking about
I know why I'm drawing a blank.
the short guy,
Lowry, Lowry,
Lowry.
Lowry,
Yeah,
Lowry,
Season Salt.
Lowry.
I don't even know his real name. I call him
Yeah,
Season Salt all the time.
it's Kyle Lowry.
Right.
I don't know why I forgot his name, but like those two guys, they're legit players, right? Like
Right.
an NBA legit starting point guards, right? You got two of them, and they play on the floor together. And to be honest, when I heard Siakam wasn't playing, I
Hmm.
was like, we got a third win. I literally was like, this is our third win. He ain't playing because that's their guy.
Right.
And dude, it showed up a lot defensively how those two guards were pressing our guards.
Yeah.
When you look at what Van Fleet and Lowry did to our guards, it was almost embarrassing. I was just happy that we got Austin back. Rivers had a decent game.
That's right. This was the debut in a Knicks uniform of Austin Rivers.
Right. And as you notice, he played most of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he did. I thought he might be on some type of minute restriction because his first real regular season game back, but he he did play a good number of minutes. Well, how do you think he did on the court?
I think he did well. Like I was saying, I think what the reason why he was kept on the court was his defensive intensity. He kept his intensity level high, and I think when Thibodeau is looking at what he's looking at during the game, he's seeing that, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go with the guy who I feel more comfortable defensively." Although I don't think Peyton had a bad game. I think Peyton had a decent game. It just is not. I don't think any of our guards were up to par to face those guys yet. I don't think they were ready for Van Fleet and Lowry and what Lowry bring. Lowry brings this intense defensive energy, and he's gonna be in the block. He's gonna rebound. He's gonna be out there down low defensively with the bigs. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like he's so aggressive. He's getting involved in rebounds that he shouldn't even be involved in. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like he's
yeah,
underneath guys, he's pulling, he's grabbing, and it's like they're not ready for that.
right.
You
No,
know,
yeah, no,
there's no boxing out anymore.
oh no, no, of course not. Yeah. That's the thing that you understand. The Raptors have been playing together for a while, and their core pieces, they change, but um, there's still people there that are comfortable playing together, like Lowry and Van Fleet. Siakam's still there, even though he didn't play in this particular game. But they have a set style of basketball, and it's a little easier to understand that they can play better. Technically, like if you could say they could play better faster than the Knicks because they already have their system in place. The guys know how to play. You're incorporating some new pieces, but you got guys who know how to play that system. The Knicks are learning everything right now from scratch. New system, all the players got to get it down. And once you get it down, then they can kind of start doing that same thing. They can start interchanging pieces, but they're not there yet.
Yeah, but also the takeaway for me is like Toronto also has a new coach,
It's
right?
true. It's true.
So, for me, it's like maybe their schemes haven't changed that much. You know
I
what I
don't think
mean?
they look the same to me when I was watching them, but yeah.
Yeah. I think, and then I think we were close until the third quarter. And I want to say like the fourth quarter, early fourth quarter. And then they gave minutes to the kid, Lynn, who was a really good college player, but never really amounted to anything in the NBA yet. And he came in and hit those open threes, which kind of like, and we weren't connecting. We were poor from the 3-point range. We were like, was it? I think we only had three pointers, right? Out of like a record high number shot. It was like 30. It was something ridiculous. 36, 3 for 36 or some craziness like that.
It was
Or 32.
336. Yes. Yeah, that is pretty.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me pull it up right now so that way you can see it. It was 3 for 36, man. I don't know what to say about that. Um, I can tell you that they definitely should have stopped shooting threes. I don't know what to say, man. How do you
But
shoot 36 threes and you only hit three?
there are open looks though, So I can't say that I was upset about them shooting the threes because there were open looks. And if, shoot or shoot, you know what I mean? I just think though, when you ain't got it going, you have to bring it in a bit. You have to bring it in. You have to get in range and then work your way out to the 3-point line. Like there were a few plays that what Bullock shot 3 for 15 that game, 0 for 9 from 3-point range. After your first 4, brother, go in. Like he had some baskets, he made some baskets, but like you shouldn't be just reckless about the 3-point shooting like that. Like that's crazy to me.
I mean, look at
And the same
RJ.
goes for Barrett. 0 for 8.
Yeah. Oh, oh no. Oh no. This NBA that we're in now is very different from what I'm used to growing up, watching the Knicks and watching basketball in general. Like these guys, it's like you said, layups or 3-point shots. The middle of the court doesn't exist. The 2-pointers, little jump hooks, things that guys see. That's what makes good players great players. Because even when you have
Right.
bad games, whatever. I'm missing 3-point shots. Fine, let me take the ball into the basket. Okay, I can't really get into the
Yep.
basket because they know I'm missing three, so they're crowding the lane. All right, take a little floater, a little baby hook, a little jumper, mid range. That's what great players do to keep consistently scoring. I don't
Yeah,
know.
just as long as it ain't Knox with the floater. I don't want to see Knox through the floater anymore. I really want to take that away from his game.
No more
He
floaters.
doesn't. He's not. It's not his thing. I don't know if it was his thing in high school, but it's not his thing. He hasn't done well with that floater. Take it out of the repertoire. It's not. It doesn't fit you. Like you are a better player when that's not in your bag.
So
Go attack the rim. Get up there, go for a dunk. Even if you miss the dunk, at least you'll probably get a foul call. But I rather see that aggressive Knox than him going into the middle of the lane and throwing a floater that becomes an air ball. He throws a How do you throw a floater that's an air ball? That means you have no lift. You're not even trying. You're not even trying to get any lift when you're throwing your floater up. Like you have to get up. It's just like not his thing. So I hope he stays away from it. If you're listening, because it
yeah,
worked with Peyton, right?
right, right, right,
Keep
right.
the floater away.
So
Um,
floaters, knocks, they're knocks for you. See what I did there? But
wow.
I,
Impressive.
oddly enough, though, he was the bright spot for the Knicks on this night. You know, he had 16 points and
Yeah.
6 rebounds, and he was 2 for 8 from three, and that was actually a good number compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah. I mean, still, you shot 14 shots, 5 for 14. That's all right. I mean, like I said, he played aggressive, which I liked. I think his the best part of Knox's game is when he's aggressive and he's not shying away from going to the basket. You know what I mean? And really like you know, get absorbing some of the contact. You know what I mean? I think he's big enough. He's 6'9". He should be taking it to the rack more, and then that'll open up his game. He had a little. I think he hit maybe one or two mid-range shots. And he had 2 3-pointers. So I think that's his game, and I think if we can if RJ Barrett can get out of his slump, because right now I got to see that as a slump. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Um, if he gets out of this slump and he's able to focus his energy on the mid-range game and then work his way out to the 3-point line, I think it'll better serve him, you know, because
I
bully
think,
ball isn't going to be always work for him.
yeah, I think you're right about that. He's definitely thinking a little too much about the game, and he's pressing. But he's still a young
Hmm.
player,
Hmm.
and like I said, everything's new there. It is a lot of pressure, and we're talking about the Knicks here. Knicks have a lot of expectations. Knicks fans, should I say, have a lot of expectations for the team. They've been a bad team for many years, and we just want to see improvement. And he knows that he is the face of that improvement.
Hmm. Hmm. I also want to see Mitch more involved in the offense. I think that's something that they haven't really like locked in on yet, and I think he's capable. I think he's one of those athletic bigs who is capable of doing much more than they're utilizing him as.
Hmm.
I could definitely see him playing more. He plays off the ball really well, but I could also see him being in a couple of, you know, uh, screen and rolls, and where he has the ball in his hands and he's making the decision whether to pass off of a pick and roll or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so I just want to see more to that, and I think it will. I think it'll happen. I just think that this is so with the limited amount of time being able to like practice, the limited amount of time that they had all to play with each other. They're gonna have to learn on the spot. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, this is definitely it's definitely one of those condensed seasons. Even though it's only what 10 less games, it's 72, but the way in which it was put together and what we're dealing with now, it doesn't give a team that level of comfort that they would normally have going into a season. So yeah, it's we're
Mhm.
gonna we're gonna see a continuation of some sloppy basketball and some learning, but as I said, due time. In time, we're going to see what the Nick product will be. Good or bad, it's going to become something. And I think
Right,
that
right,
even
right.
better than what a lot of people have seen in the past from the Knicks. They
I,
gotta bear witness.
the vote of confidence for me is that the way we see them respond to the coaching, the way they respond to all of the coaches, and the one great thing that I noticed and that I like to see from the start, they said every coach had a handful of players. Every individual coach was given a handful of players to work with. So it doesn't mean that the onus is on Tibbs just solely on by himself.
Hmm.
It was Kenny Payne and Woodson and Johnny Bryant and I'm missing a couple of guys, but like everyone had an
Aaron Brooks.
opportunity.
Aaron Brooks
Yeah,
is
you
another
know what I
coach.
mean. Had an Aaron Brooks, you know, just having the opportunity to just have one-on-one time with each individual player, and they know that they can go to that coach, that specific coach, for more information. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like if I know I'm messing up or I know I'm not feeling right with my game, I can go directly to one individual and get time with that individual to work those kinks out.
Right.
Or if you don't know where you need or you're not comfortable where you're at in the floor, okay, you got that one individual, he could then show you where you need to be at during each play. And then you can go over film together. I think that's amazing because we haven't seen that since probably the Van Gundy era or the Pat Riley era. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. This is different. I just even watching the games, like as I watch the stuff go on, in the middle of timeouts, I see Woodson talking to players. I see Woodson talking to Thibodeau. But on the court, I see Johnny Bryant. Like Thibodeau will be standing there. Johnny Bryant will be right behind them, talking to them, talking to the guys.
Yeah.
Like it's very different. This is definitely a new look to way things are at the Garden or anywhere in the Nick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you could definitely see it during timeouts. You know what I mean? Like you got, and I don't know the gentleman's name, but you see a coach come out and he's talking to the point guards, and it's not Johnny Bryant, it's another gentleman,
Hmm.
you know, who's there. He's talking about some of, you know, probably some plays that were ran, and he's like giving people some more insight. And I think I haven't seen that in quite some time. Where back in a couple of years ago and last year, you would see players just run to the huddle and they are like their focused energy is on the head coach. Now you're seeing guys getting pulled to the side by individual coaches and they're saying, okay, you needed to be here, kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
Right.
that was a good play, but you should have looked here at this, you know, or don't make the second pass. Take that first shot. You have an open look. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
those are things, and those are the votes of confidence that I think our young players need in order to take that next step
Hmm.
and learn how to win, right? Because that's what we're trying to build, the culture of winning. I think it starts with the coaching.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I think so far so good. This has been a pretty good little. I want to say kind of. I don't want to say it's a road trip because they kind of had a home games mixed in, but let's just say a
Mhm.
4 game span for the Knicks.
Yeah,
2-2.
looks good, man. I enjoyed I enjoyed watching. Um, you know, it's going to be interesting to see who we come up. We have during this week of games. Should we go into our next schedule?
Yeah. What what
Games.
what what do we have going on for the next couple games?
All right, let me take a look here and see who we got on our calendar. Let's see here. All right, so well, we're coming up. Well, it'll be today. Later on today, we have a 7 o'clock game against the Pacers.
The revenge game.
That's a revenge game. What do you see? How do you feel about that one?
Uh, I think this game. I'm not going to say anything too crazy that the Knicks are going to blow the Pacers out or anything like that. But I do think the Knicks are going to win this game. I think the Knicks are going to come out with a little bit more of a fire in their belly from losing to them the last time and getting kind of manhandled so much down low. I think Austin Rivers will have a game under his belt, so this game will be a little bit more smooth for him. And I just think that the way the Knicks shot the basketball against Toronto, this game is going to be like a rebound game as far as their jump shots. I'm not saying they're going to be lights out, but I would say that maybe 50% of the shots they missed last time around, they'll have better looks at the basket. They're going to create better opportunities for themselves. So I think they're going to put together a much better effort, and I think that they're going to come out of this one with a win. That's the way I feel.
That's your feeling?
Yeah.
Can I place a bet on that one?
Oh.
What do those odds look like?
Hey man, I don't know. I don't feel that confident, but but this is the revenge game, so you never know.
That's true, man. I'm gonna lean in the same direction. I think this is a game that we know what they bring. I think we're gonna get a better effort. I think a more substantial, more. You're gonna get the kind of Mitchell Robinson that we've seen in the last 3 games.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I think that's gonna be the matchup to look at. That's going to be the matchup to watch, and not necessarily for Mitchell Robinson scoring buckets, but more about how many minutes does he play on the floor, and how consistent can he be grabbing boards and being kind of like in the way, whether or not he gets blocks or not, just being that length and showing his size and just being a nuisance on the defensive end. If he wins that matchup on the defensive end, we have a chance at winning this game. And I think that's the possibility. And hopefully we get Burke back. Because if we get Burke back, that could be the game changer right there.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We have a healthy Burke with Austin Rivers out there, giving them a little different taste that they haven't shown before. The Knicks can definitely pull this game out, and that's not saying that we couldn't have a surprise visit from Obi Toppin, but I don't think he's ready yet.
Right. I think Quickly is scheduled to be back before Toppin, right?
Technically, yeah, I think that's the case. But, who knows, man, because these injuries, especially with young guys, they don't want to take chances. So they may just rest them both until they're really, 100%. So they go out there and put their best effort forward.
I'd rather see that anyway. I don't want to see a young kid come back and not fully healed and then all of a sudden come back out and not have the ability to play further into the season. Like, I don't want to see any kind of season-ending surgery or anything like that. We've already witnessed some of that. So with Klay Thompson. So not looking forward to like this rest of those young kids until they're fully healthy and bring them back.
I agree.
But we didn't talk about our second. We did this little thing where we had created the segment around stock, like Knicks stock.
Right.
And we talked about Alfred Payton, who stepped it up, and Frank Ntilikina stepped it up all as well. And that wasn't too off.
Yeah,
he had a pretty decent game off the bench.
You're right. I didn't want to go into too in depth into the Knick stock risers and fallers because of the fact that we had so many games to cover and talk about. But this is what I'm talking about. This is why sports is incredible, because guys can go from being the quote unquote, they call it the heel when you're not playing well, and then you can come back out and you're starting to look like a very solid contributor to the team. I don't know, it just from one night to the next. That's sports.
That's exactly why we can't be too up or too down on anybody. I mean, we have to look at the Knicks differently than we did in the past, right? I'm a knock on wood if I could find wood around here. My table's wood, so I'm gonna knock on my wood right on wood here, right underneath me. James Dolan has not been in the public eye or in the news lately. Let's keep it that way. Let's keep it that way. We have to. Like, as long as he's not in the public eye, let him continue to do his music and whatever. Like, let the folks that you have hired to do the job and run the front office, let them run it, because right now it's looking great. And as long as we got that core happening, we have to look at the Knicks a little differently now. We have to look at them with a different lens. We have to give them the opportunity to learn and build and just prove us right for a change.
Yeah, man, definitely, definitely, definitely. I'm 100% with you. Dolan, stay out of it. All owners should stay out of everything. You know, there's only room for two owners to say anything about sports. That's Mark Cuban and the gentleman from the Clippers. Because you know what? They don't do it. It's nothing hurtful. You know, they just go out there. They're big fans. They don't do anything to hurt their teams. They just want their teams to succeed. But every
Right,
other owner, you hired people for a reason. Let them do their thing and let them
right,
run the team and, you know, let them make your product successful. That's the
right,
key. You know,
right,
you just worry about the ching ching.
right, right. But listen, it's looking great, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of the season. We're going to be on board. You know, listen, this is fun, man. This is good.
I agree. I agree. I think by the next time we're back, the Knicks will have played the Pacers. We got the Knicks and the Hawks. We got the Jazz. And we'll probably most likely get on after that Knicks and Thunder game.
Oh, Friday Night Knicks.
That's
Let's
right.
get
Friday
it.
night, Knicks and MSG.
Oh,
Ah,
nice.
yeah. So another interesting set of games. So if I'm gonna do my normal prediction thing,
All
that
right. Yeah, listen, all you fans, all you tuning in, appreciate the love. Appreciate you guys jumping on in, hitting that like, hit that subscribe button. Listen, he's gonna give us picks. All right. Gotta pay attention. He was right the last time. He got 2 out of the 3 or 2 out of the 4.
yeah.
Right.
No,
So
listen, I don't know. I don't know. I'm no Swami, but I'm gonna say this, and you can take this to the bank.
let's
Knicks and
hear it. Let's
Pacers.
hear it.
Pacers are gonna lose this one. Knicks are gonna come out victorious. So
All right.
that's one win right there. Knicks and Hawks. I'm gonna say the Knicks got this one too. That's right. You heard
Ooh,
me.
back
And
to back.
Hawks is a good team, man. They got some good young firepower there. So I'm
Yep.
giving the Knicks this one too. The Jazz and Knicks, I'm gonna give that one to the Jazz. The Jazz are a very solid defensive team with a lot of solid big man players. Like Rudy Gobert is the defensive player
Yep.
of the year for a reason. I think
And
the
they
Knicks.
got Mitchell.
Oh, let's not forget they got Mitchell. I think the Knicks
Right.
are gonna have a tough time against this Jazz team. I'm hoping for the best, but I think this is going to be a loss. And then we got the Knicks against the Young Thunder, minus Chris Paul, who's no longer there. I'm giving this one to the Knicks too. So next 4 games,
They're going,
Knicks is going three
they're
and one,
getting
baby.
3 and
Three and
1.
one, baby.
Woo! I like to hear that, man.
That's right. Three
I
and
like to
one.
hear
Let's go. The Boxers are
that.
back.
I hear that, man. That's listen. Then we coming out of that week with a winning record. Where that'll pretty much give us somewhat of a of we'll be up there if you go 3 and 1 in our division. You know, we're in a third to first place area, depending on who wins and loses.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't think I'm being overly optimistic when I say that they can win these games because you
Yeah.
know what? There's going to be a lot of tough games on the Knicks schedule. Right
Oh
after
yeah.
that, you see the Nuggets are sitting there. You see it.
I know. I know.
I'm
I
not
don't want to
talking about
look
the
that
Nuggets
far.
yet.
I'm
I'm
not
not
trying to
going
look
there
that
yet.
far.
I don't want to talk about it yet.
But listen,
So,
that's food for thought, man, and that's good stuff, man. I mean, we got something to be excited for. You heard it here first. Ron called it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even gonna touch it. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna let that ride. I'm gonna let it ride. So
Well, you know what? This has been another great time getting together with you, bro. I couldn't have been happier to go over this stuff, and it couldn't have been, I couldn't be happier to do it with a better person, man. This is
Oh man.
this has been like it's like a labor of love to be able to talk about my favorite basketball team, and I'm glad I'm doing it with you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. You're my brother, and I appreciate you for bringing this up to me and just inviting me on this. And this is gonna be great, man. We continue to do this, and this is a lot of fun. Either way, we would have done it anyway. So now
That
that we're on,
that's a fact. That is a
right?
fact. That is a fact. You know what? Might as well, tell it to the people and let them get a chance to hear what we think about the Knicks. We're just like them. We just want to bring it to their attention and have a platform where it shows that there's Knicks fans that are still out here, ride or die,
Absolutely.
through it
Ride or
all, man,
dies.
through it all.
Listen, and we're no strangers to following others on YouTube, and I'm a big fan of many YouTubers, and there are a lot of Nick podcast out there. We're super fans. I don't know about you, but one that comes to mind for me is like Nick of Time or Nick on Time KOT. You have CK2K. Who you be on?
I'm a big fan of CK, 2K. I like watching Nick of Time as
Legion
well.
of Knicks.
Legion of Knicks is a new one, but he's a stable for me because I'm used to watching Simeon Russell stuff, and Simeon used to would always have this guy on, and they had great. I mean, they had great Nick conversations going back and forth, but there was used to get
Right,
heated, man, heated, and
right, right,
real part of the guys that really got me to like watching this stuff and getting into these YouTube podcasts. I can't say enough about them.
right. And like our boy, what's it? Give it up for your boys.
Oh,
CP, right?
yeah,
Jay
CP,
Ellis, right?
CP and
I said
JS.
I said KOT, I said the nick of time, but gotta give it up to CP. They're
Yeah,
doing a great job over there.
that's correct. I also like watching another one that's good because of the fact that they break down the games and look at them in a little different. Is Nick Film School? Nick Film
Yeah.
School
Yep.
is really good, and I like the way they go under the hood and talk to you a little bit more about different things in basketball, the more stats and different things. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there, and I
It's a
definitely,
lot of good Nick content. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
So
definitely want to be a part of that mix, and I'd love to really at some point get together in the community if we can get past this whole COVID situation and be able to go back out, get to a Nick game, man, chop it up with everybody,
absolutely.
all the Nick fans get together and just talk about our team.
Yeah, that's a fact. I'll have the longest ride ever coming out of a Nick game, but I'll still do
But you know what?
it.
If we get through this situation and we're able to get back out there safely and healthy, you know what? It might be worth it to just to get together one time, get to a nice Nick game, and
Oh,
talk
absolutely.
with all these people and get out there and root for our favorite team, man.
Yeah, favorite team and just great Nick content all around, man. I really appreciate everyone putting in the effort and going out there and just get supporting. You know what I mean? I think we support them. I'm sure they'll support us. So looking forward to it, man. This
Yeah,
was
no,
great.
this
Thanks, Ron.
this was fantastic, bro. Thank you for doing this with me once again, and all the fans out there, just like us, yo. We'll see you next week, and hopefully, I am, the real Swami. I'm predicting 3-1, baby. We're gonna shock the world.
3-1. Let's do it. I'm with it.
All right, y'all. Take care. This has been
All
Still
right.
Nick Fans Podcast. We'll see you next time.